I want to talk to you about Sprinter Van business loans with fast approval. You can actually qualify for up to $250,000 with this lenders I want to share with you into this conversation. So here's a review I want you to pay attention to. So when you think about Sprinter Van business loans with fast approval, I want you to first think about commercial fleet financing. This is a wonderful lender, and this is actually a lender that's great for fast approval. And so CFF, as it's really known usually, offers equipment financing for Sprinter vans, semi-trucks, trailers, box trucks, construction vehicles, and more. And so that's kind of cool. And it doesn't disclose the interest rate it offers online, but repayment terms range from 36 months all the way to 1 or 8 months. So we're speaking here about 3 years to 9 years. And you might also need to sign a personal guarantee, even though they actually have stopped doing it after COVID. So nowadays they don't ask for a PG anymore. So you just have to actually agree that the Sprinter van is actually the collateral for the loan. Okay, so you don't have to become responsible personally for the loan anymore. So that's kind of important. And if you are borrowing less than $150,000, you won't have to provide any tax returns with your loan application either. So that's really fantastic. The second Sprinter van business loan that I want to share with you today is actually Truck Lenders, Truck Lenders USA. So even if the name says Truck Lenders, they actually lend for business for Sprinter vans, cargo vans, trucks, all kinds of equipment. Okay, and Truck Lenders USA provides financing for almost any type of commercial equipment, as long as it has wheels, a valid title, and is no more than 7 years old. And loans range from $15,000 all the way to $250,000. So you have a flexibility there. And also there are some cases where this lender has jumbo leases up to $1 million. So that's kind of cool. Think about it, $1 million. But this you have to actually think about a fleet of Sprinter vans. And repayment terms with Truck Lenders USA vary from 24 to 60 months for borrowers with credit scores of at least 675. You also need to, even though they could also approve you if you have a 600 as a minimum FICO score. You also need to provide a low down payment in some cases, and so that's really something to really think about. And the down payment can be somewhere from 5% all the way to 10%. If you're looking for a Sprinter van business loans this year, I want you to think about Balboa Capital, okay? And Balboa Capital is really great in terms of same-day funding. So if you're looking for a Sprinter van same-day business loan, I want you to think about Balboa Capital. And Balboa Capital actually offers alternative Sprinter van loans, cargo van loans, truck loans for borrowers who need financing to purchase all kinds of vehicles, including Sprinter vans, okay? And so you may be able to borrow up to $500,000 depending on the type of collateral you have to offer and other qualification factors. Now, if you are just if you're buying a Sprinter van with a loan, you don't need to actually post any collateral at all. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to have a good credit score, because the Sprinter van will constitute the collateral they are going to use as they're going to use for the loan. And Balboa Capital requires lenders to have a minimum FICO score that goes from 520 to 620. And if the lender approves your application, you may be able to access funds as soon as the same day you apply. So that's kind of cool. Next, I want to share with you a CAG Truck Capital. And so CAG Truck Capital is actually a private lender that offers a Sprinter van business loans to borrowers with good or bad credit. And if you are eligible for financing, you may be able to use a CAG Truck Capital loan to purchase a new or used Sprinter van of any make or model, okay? And this lender is willing to work with multiple credit challenges, bankruptcy filings included. So that's kind of cool. That gives you a lot of flexibility there. And however, you can't find much information on the lender's website about available APR, so even about the repayment terms or exact qualification requirements. So it's important to actually contact them. It's important also to compare any loan offer you receive from other lenders to make sure that you are getting a good deal in the end, especially if you want to get let's say a lengthy Sprinter van business loan. So with this CAG truck capital, you have startup funding options available, and financing is available also for high mileage trucks and Sprinter vans. So that's kind of cool. But the only thing is that the lack of transparency around pricing could be a little discouraging. Discouraging. So be aware of that as you contact the CAG truck capital to have a more like a better idea about their offer. If you're looking for the best Sprinter van business loans, I want you to think about US Bank. And US Bank is a great bank. There is no down payment. But the only thing is US Bank wants you to really be a client of theirs before they actually give you a Sprinter van business loan. And they can actually give you a Sprinter van business loan up to $1 million. So eligible borrowers can receive as much as 125% financing with extra funding available to cover costs like taxes, installation fees, and freight charges. So that's kind of cool. And this is actually really great also if you want to buy a fleet of Sprinter vans. So you may be able to get a commercial vehicle loan with no down payment through a US Bank, and repayment terms range from 24 to 60 months or longer. So that's kind of cool. And this bank also allows the applicants to have the chance to pre-qualify for Sprinter van business loans of up to $500,000. So that's really good in terms of flexibility. We love that a lot. Okay. And so you can finance up to $1 million, no blanket liens, and you have flexible payment options. So annually, quarterly, or even monthly. So that's kind of cool. Next, you have Bank of America, another big bank. Bank of America is bigger than US Bank, by the way. So Bank of America, what we love about Bank of America is that they offer loans and leases for Sprinter vans, for cargo vans, for trucks. So let's just say commercial equipment purchases starting at $25,000. And you may receive repayment terms of up to 5 years when you secure your loan with business assets. Even though nowadays, after COVID, Bank of America will be willing to work with you without actually you collateralizing the loan through with your business assets, because the Sprinter van that you are going to buy with the loan is going to constitute the collateral that you need to use. And fixed interest rates starts at around 6% for well-qualified customers. And business borrowers may also receive an extra discount, 0.25% to 0.75% through the bank's preferred rewards program. So that's kind of cool. The preferred rewards program is the way for Bank of America to solidify its relationship vis-a-vis its clients. So loan amounts start at about $25,000. You have competitive interest rates, and you also have interest rate discounts available. So that's kind of cool. On the flip side, you got to have a minimum of 2 years in business required, at least $250,000 in annual revenue required, an average funding speed of 10 days to expect. So that could be a little discouraging in our view. Next, I want to talk to you about First Capital Business Finance. So if you're looking for a Sprinter van business loans, you will love this player. So actually, First Capital Business Finance is great for startups, and they have several Sprinter van financing options available to established companies, but also startups. So, and this lender doesn't place year or mileage restrictions on vehicle purchases, and you may qualify for financing with no money down. And so they actually work with personal credit scores as low as 520 to 620. And however, loan limits are more restrictive than you might encounter elsewhere, ranging from 10,000 to 100,000. And keep in mind that if you have been in business for less than 2 years, you can't borrow more than $49,000, which is still good anyway, because you have a Sprinter van on the market that are actually valued at less than $49,000. So we think that this loan is great for startup delivery businesses. So that's kind of cool. And so this is really good, especially if you are trying to really get funded real fast. Next, you also have Wells Fargo. So this is another big national bank besides the Bank of America. So Wells Fargo is great for multiple funding options. So Wells Fargo actually has a commercial vehicle program that offers multiple types of Sprinter van financing, including term loans, equipment lines of credit, and standard and open-ended leases, allowing you to find the option that best fits your business's needs. This is kind of cool. And Wells Fargo doesn't really mandate that you be a customer of theirs before you can qualify for this loan. Even though if you are a customer, this will help your application a lot. And Wells Fargo business loans are available for Sprinter vans, trucks, trailers, and specialty vehicles such as tow trucks or cranes. And repayment terms depend on the vehicle. So this is kind of cool. So for example, Sprinter van loans can last from 12 to 84 months, while terms for a specialty vehicle are 36 to 84 months. So everything depends on the vehicle that you are actually buying with the loan. Next, I want to share with you, if you're thinking about the Sprinter van business loans, I want you to think about national funding. So national funding actually is an ally to a business owners, a trusted lending resource that works hard and moves quickly to provide financing solutions, especially when it comes to Sprinter van business loans. So if you want to finance equipment or you want to lease equipment, they'll take care of you, not a problem. So you can finance new or used Sprinter van up to $150,000, and you can finance up to 100% of the business equipment cost. No upfront fees or down payment required. And you also have the ability to use Section 179 tax deductions. And so this is kind of cool. And you have a fast and easy application process. No cost, no obligation application with funding in as few as 24 hours. You have a personalized experience, funding specialists who care, and you have a worry-free lending process. And you also have a hassle-free payments. So that's kind of cool because national funding provides fixed terms and set up simple automatic payments. So that's kind of cool for your Sprinter van business. Next, you have the Larson Group. This is the last one into this conversation. Last but not the least, that's for sure. And when we think about the Larson Group, you actually can apply online. So to submit an online application, you will need to provide your employment history, bank information, and credit references. And so what we love about this letter is that you have loans and leases. You have a lot of, so you have, for instance, you have a Sprinter van business loans, you have retail loans, working capital loans, track leases, modified track leases, sales lease backs. You also have FMV leases, so fair market value. So that's really cool in terms of functionality. We love that a lot. And one thing I want to say is that basically you are able to receive financing real fast. I mean, within 24 to 48 hours, which is really fast when you think about Sprinter van business loans nowadays, especially after COVID, because there was a resurgence of loans of Sprinter van business loans after COVID. During COVID, it was a little slow, but after COVID, it was after the restrictions were lifted, you saw a resurgence of Sprinter van business loans. And good thing is that the Larson Group is really taking advantage of that. This is really fantastic. So let me give you the overview here. So in today's conversation, I'll share with you the top 10 Sprinter van business loans that we have seen so far. And so when we think about a Sprinter van business loan, I want you to really understand that you can actually use the loan to buy the vehicle, but you can also use the loan to take care of your Sprinter van business, because the Sprinter van business is not just about the vehicle. You have, sorry about this. You have the operational side, the back office. Maybe you want to pay your dispatcher or what have you. So you have a lot of possibilities that actually, a lot of expenses that come with a Sprinter van business. That's for sure, right? I'm not the one to tell you what kind of Sprinter van business expenses that you have. The bottom line here is that you have to really understand when you apply for a loan, you have to really understand that there are certain factors that will impact your ability to be approved or be declined, right? So you have to also think about the fact that your credit score, that's for sure, the value of the Sprinter van that you want to buy, but also the revenue strategy that you have. In other words, the amount of time you are devoting to Sprinter van delivery business, the equipment you are using to haul loads, the region in which you operate. Geography plays an important role when it comes to revenue, the number of loads available, the type of loads you carry, your years of experience, fuel prices, your rates, and your cost. We just finished a show about CPM versus RPM. So we're speaking about your cost per mile and your revenue per mile. So you might want to really pay attention to that show, because we really explain to you all the things that you have to really pay attention to. Now, when we talk about logistics and requirements for sprinter van business, you have to really understand that as an owner operator, you are in charge of your driving logs. So use this to mark timing, distance, and the weight of your hauls under hours of service regulations, and especially if you're doing OTR, because if you're just doing in-states sort of hauling, not a problem. But if you're doing OTR, you are subject to the same rules that truckers have are subject to. Okay, and if hauling over state lines, stay aware of each state's regulations and how to document our hauls for interstate transport. And if needed, you might need to get your commercial driver's license, your CDL, get properly insured. So we're speaking about liability, physical damage, cargo, and so on and so forth, and get a US dot number and MC number if needed. For a sprinter van, you don't really need it, but if you need it for the kind of commodities you're transporting, then you want to get it as well. Let me give you a few pro tips here. So if you want to really finance a sprinter van, you want to determine your down payment, if any. I mean, if you find a lender who is not charging you anything down payment, that's fine. But you might want to actually apply for a 20% down payment. You want to find the sprinter van that you want and lenders that will fund it. You want to compare loans and you want to gather paperwork and apply. Okay, and you can finance a sprinter van with bad credit, not a problem. And if you have bad credit, you may still be able to finance a sprinter van with an alternative or the direct lender. And because the sprinter van itself serves as collateral, these lenders may be more open to approving borrowers with poor credit histories, past delinquencies, or bankruptcies. Now, keep in mind that the lender will own the title on your sprinter van and could repossess it if you don't pay. Make sure you're able to afford the payments on your new loan and all the other costs that will come with the sprinter van, like fuel, maintenance, tires, and insurance. Okay, so those are things you really need to think about. And it goes into what I said a little earlier when I said about your cash inflows and versus cash outflows management. And now you got to also ask yourself if you should actually finance or lease a sprinter van, right? If you are in the market for a sprinter van, financing is often a better option than leasing. So that's an important element. But, sprinter van leasing can make sense in the following instances. You are a startup, you need to free up cash, or you are worried about longevity. So if you're in an industry where you have to pay attention to those things, hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do. Now, when we talk about sprinter van business loans, remember that you have all kinds of possibilities, not just from traditional banks or credit unions. You can also tap into the network of direct lenders and also alternative lenders. So when we talk about direct lenders, those are companies with the expertise in sprinter van financing, and these types of lenders might accept borrowers who would have a harder time qualifying for a bank loan. But it's important to compare interest rates, fees, and other terms to find the most affordable financing solution. And also, when you think about alternative lenders, those are often based online without brick and mortar branches you can visit. Although they don't have specific expertise in sprinter van financing, prospective borrowers who value online-only banking may prefer actually this type of lender. So you have to see what works for you. So in conclusion, in today's conversation, I share with you the sprinter van business loans. I give you the review, the overview, the pro tips, and now the conclusion. So in terms of the review, we have a commercial fleet financing CFF, Truck Lenders USA, Balboa Capital, CAG, Truck Capital, US Bank. You have Bank of America. You have First Capital Business Finance, Wells Fargo, National Funding, and the Larson Group. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.